Welcome back to the lecture, and as I have told you earlier, we are going to look into an exploit that is EternalBlue. And the EternalBlue exploit was very infamous WannaCry ransomware attack as well. So in this session, we will explore one of the most infectious or infamous vulnerabilities used in cyber attacks, including the 2017's WannaCry ransomware attack. And EternalBlue is an exploit that was developed by NSA and later leaked by shadow brokers, and it targets a critical vulnerability in Microsoft's SMB protocol. And if we check on the web page, it is also mentioned that you will undoubtedly recall the name shadow brokers who back in 2007 were dumping software exploit widely believed to be stolen from US National Security Agency, and WannaCry, the notorious ransomware attack that struck only a month later. Also in 2 years, in a long time cybersecurity, but EternalBlue aka EternalBlue, the critical exploit leaked by shadow brokers deployed in WannaCry and NotPetya attack, and it's still making headlines. So this exploit, it's still relevant and we cannot ignore this one. So if we scroll a little bit down, you can read about what is EternalBlue, and EternalBlue CVE is 2017, and as you can see 2017 is the date when it was released. And as I've told you, it was a mathematical error in the Microsoft server of SMB that is used in Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows XP and even Windows 10 running on port 445, as I've told you, the SMB port. Also, once you scroll a little bit down, you can see this was the flaw in SMB protocol that were patched by Microsoft in 2017 with this security update. But unfortunately, despite being patched, this vulnerability is still available and it's still reportedly affecting some systems if they are running a pirated version or outdated version of Windows 10. So let's see how we can exploit this vulnerability. So as you can see in my nmap scan, we have this result, and these unknown services are not important, but what important is these two ports that are running SMB services, and to exploit these we can use Metasploitable. So let's open a new terminal and we will here open MSF console, and in the MSF console we are going to use our auxiliary modules. And why auxiliary modules? Because auxiliary modules can check for us if there are any exploit for these vulnerability or not. So first we will check our auxiliary modules in MSF console, and to check auxiliary module we have to first type EternalBlue. So as we can see here, we are going to check this auxiliary module to see if our target is vulnerable or not. So we'll just type this, and here we will type use and paste the selection and hit enter. And if we type options here, you can see we have to set only our host here. So if we type info here to get more understanding over this auxiliary module, you can see in the description this uses information disclosure to determine if this MS17010 has been patched or not. Specifically, it connects to IPCS3. So let's set our host to our IP address of our target machine, and that was 192.168.29.175. and if we type show options once again, we can see our host is set here. Now if we type info once again, you can see everything here. So once everything is perfect, you don't have to change this R port and this name pipe file, you just leave it as it is. And when we go down, we just have to type run enter, and as we can see, auxiliary module execution completed, and the host is likely to vulnerable to this particular vulnerability. And it also tells us that Windows 7 Home's basic and it's a 64-bit system. So now we will search for exploits. We will type search EternalBlue once again, and now as we can see, we have some exploits of EternalBlue, and the exploit we are going to use is this one, the first one, as it targets and it has multiple targets targets. We will copy this selection, and it says it is the average rank exploit that exploits remote Windows kernel pool corruption. So we will just type use here and paste this selection. Once we type, as you can see, no payload configured. It is defaulting to Windows 64-bit MetaPeta reverse TCP, and if you are using a 32-bit system, you can change this payload, but I hope so you have downloaded a 64-bit operating system on your virtual machine. So we are going to use just this one. So we will type info for once to check about this exploit, and it says this module is a port of equation group EternalBlue exploit, part of a first bunch toolkit released by Shadow Broker. Now we will type options to see what we have to change or not. So as we can see here, we have to change our host, we have to specify our target's IP address. We don't need to change the R port as it is 445 for SMB, and there is nothing we have to change as L port is already set to our Kali Linux virtual machine's IP address, and L port is the listening port that is already set to 444. So here we just have to set our host, so we will just do it very quickly, and the host IP address was 192.168.29.175. so as we hit enter, we type options here, and as we can see, our host is ready. So now if we type run and hit enter, our execution is done, and now we are in our MetaPeta shell, and it says a win. A win means we have successfully bypassed our machine security, and if we type get UID, it says we have system level access. That means we have admin privileges, and this privilege is the highest on any machine, as I have told you earlier. We can also, and if you are not familiar with MetaPeta, you can just type help command to see what we can do here. So we have some basic commands here, we have some networking commands here. As we can see, we can remove any directory, we can search for anything, we can check present working directory, we can move any directory, we can make anything. Also we can download any file or a directory using MetaPeta, and MetaPeta shell is the most powerful shell. And don't worry about MetaPeta, we will explain everything about this shell in our post exploitation section. So this was a crucial vulnerability that we needed to encounter and to tell you how these vulnerabilities works and how you can hack a Windows machine in a real world. So we will just type exit here, and we are out of this session, and this session is shut down.